With Premiere open, I'll create a new project. Up in the left-hand corner, I'll give the project the name, and then I'll click on my desktop to locate the folder I want to use. And I'll click on the folder, and if I hit Create in the lower right-hand corner, it's going to import all the video files into the project window. Now, like After Effects, I can use one of the clips to determine the aspect ratio and the frame rate of my movie. I'll click on Carnival Clip 1 and I'll drag it to the timeline. And you can see now that your program window is the same aspect ratio of the original clip and the timeline has been set accordingly. I can change the zoom of the program window where the movie resides by these default numbers that we see in the lower left-hand corner of the program window. If I look in my timeline, I can see that I've got my video clip in video track number 1. Now, there's no audio track, but you can see that they are highlighted, so had there been an audio clip, as we'll see with clips 3, 4, and 5, they will drop into audio 1. If I were to look at the bottom of the project tab, you can see that clips with audio have the waveform in the lower right-hand corner. As in After Effects, Premiere is non-destructive editing, which means that if I select my clip in the timeline, I can move it about, and I can put my cursor over either end, and I can edit the time accordingly. Now I want my first clip to start 4 seconds into the timeline. I'm going to click on the time code in the left-hand corner of the timeline, and I'll put in 400. You'll start to see the relationship between After Effects and Premiere. Unlike After Effects, though, as you drag, you'll feel the clip snap to where the playback head is. There's a default setting in the timeline in the form of this little horseshoe. When that tool is blue, that means the snap is enacted. You still need the shift and drag in certain instances, though. Now that I have my clip inside my timeline, I'm going to edit the out point of it so that it's not quite as long as it is. There's a couple of ways to do this. I can double-click on the clip in the timeline. It'll appear in the source window with its own timeline. The source window is always visible, unlike in After Effects where you need to double-click on the clip to actually have it come into the interface. Now I'm going to edit the end of this clip by 2 seconds. I'll drag the playback head to the very end, and you'll see there is the 7-second duration. I want to subtract 2 seconds from it. I'll click on the time code, and I'll put in 500, and you can see it's leaving 2 seconds at the end of my clip. Now to edit it, I'm going to go to the toolbar in the source window. There are 2 brackets at the far left. The open bracket will give me an in point if I chose, but I want the out point, so I'll click on the closed bracket, and you can see it updated in my window. I'm going to Z that out because there's another way to do it. I'm going to put my playback head at the end of my clip. I'll hold the shift key and snap. Or if you prefer keyboard quicks, I'll place my clip in the center. And if I would hit the down arrow on the middle pad, it will take me to the end of the clip. If I hit the up arrow, it will take me to the beginning of the clip. So I'll hit the down arrow, and now I'm going to move 2 seconds in time using the time code in the timeline itself. I have 11 seconds. I'll put in 900. And then I'll put my cursor over the right-hand edge. Holding the shift key, I'll click and drag to my playback head. That's 2 different ways in which to edit. We'll explore another one once we talk a little bit more about the toolbar. I'm going to put clip number 2 next to clip number 1. And there's 2 ways to do that as well. The easiest way would probably to click on 2 and just drag it and drop it in the same track and snap it. I'm going to edit the end point of that. Now once again I can double click, and in my source window with the playback head at the beginning of the clip in its timeline, I'll put 200 in and I'll hit return, and I'll click on the open bracket this time, and you'll see it's left a gap. Now to close that gap out, I'll click between the two. You'll get a white box. When you right-click, you'll see Ripple Delete. It will place the clips together. Now I'd like to remove part of the video clip in the middle of Carnival 2. I'll put my playback head in the center somewhere. And I'm going to hit C on the keyboard, and you'll see a razor blade tool has been selected. I can click close to the playback head and it'll give me an edit, and then I'll just randomly put another cut. I'll hit V on the keyboard and I'll select the piece I want to remove. I have two options. I can hit delete and then click on it as we did when we edited through the source window, and then I'll right click and choose Ripple Delete. C for cut will give you the razor blade tool.